Origin Gents, and this is 10 horrible ways animals can end you by the channel Casual Geographic. Happy Halloween again? I thought you already made the Halloween video. Oh god. So this is gonna be your more nightmarish. Enjoy 20 minutes of purely traumatizing yet somehow educational content. Yeah, this is part 1. I can't do the whole 20 minutes at once. That would be like what, 30-40 minutes of a reaction video. Most people won't have retention of that. And I think I don't have the balls to go through the 20 minutes of horrible animal facts. So yeah, this is part 1. Let's watch it. I love Casual Geographic, even though he basically traumatized me every single day apparently. My description usually reflect that. You know, sometimes people think, oh, you have the wrong description. No, it's not. The description is not the title, it's how I feel. So yeah, let's watch this one.
I didn't think you were safe just because Halloween's over. This video was actually supposed to be posted on Halloween, but I don't even have an excuse, it just be like that. Not much of an intro this time, so here's 10 horrible ways animals can put your autobiography in the history section. Not necessarily in order, but it does get brutal, so I'm gonna do something I've never done before. Viewer discretion is very much advised. That's the only warning you're gonna get. When that music starts, it's up. Also, I kinda owe y'all more Halloween content, so if this gets a certain number of likes, I'll do a part 2. All that aside, let's get to the content. When you think of some of the apex predators on the planet, you might think of heavyweights like lions, bears, crocodiles, and of course you got the biggest bully in the ocean. Not the seal, but the killer whale dragging it. But what you probably don't think of is a prehistoric steroid gecko found on only remote islands in the world. And that's exactly what makes the Komodo Dragon one of the most underrated killers on the planet.
This is Komodo Dragon?
This homicide lizard can grow to 10 feet long, weigh nearly 200 pounds, can swim, and can run faster than your mental health is prepared for. This video isn't sped up, but the most lethal thing about them is something you can't see. The Komodo Dragon has...
Yeah, anybody who's fan of playing games, AAA games like Far Cry, and played Far Cry 3 when it came out, they would know that Komodo Dragons are fucking menace. Even in the games, like what the fuck is this? I thought it was exaggerated because it's a video game, like can't possibly be that dangerous. Then I realized, oh they are. They definitely are.
Has up to 60 razor-sharp serrated kitchen knives for teeth tough enough to dissect a full-grown buffalo and tear flesh in chunks. But it's how they catch their prey that's unsettling. It was believed that a Komodo's septic bite was potent enough to cause its victim to retire to a bacterial infection. But it turns out this modern-day dinosaur uses a toxic venom that it injects into its prey. This venom reduces the body's blood clotting abilities and makes it more likely for you to bleed out once wounded. Other symptoms include lowering of blood pressure, shock, and muscle paralysis, and that last one's going to be real important later. The venom's so powerful that just one bite can be a death sentence for a tank like a water buffalo. Which means Komodos don't have to waste energy trying to chase down a meal. All they have to do is critically wound their prey and then wait for them to die. And because these reptiles that time left behind are only found on remote islands, and they have a borderline disrespectful sense of smell, there's almost no point on the island you can go where this lizard Liam Neeson won't eventually track you down.
Oh yes,
and the reason paralysis being a symptom is such a problem is because Komodos won't exactly wait for their prey to be past tense. Okay,
I reacted to the Tier Zoo video on Komodo Dragons. I have put it on the thumbnail, which is just creepy as fuck. I still remember that thumbnail. Komodo Dragon with that tongue thing and the fact that they can track you ridiculously long distances. And the way they're, you know, paralysis and everything they can do. It's just, Komodo Dragon is terrifying.
Just as long as they're too weak to fight back or run away. Cause these lizards will eat their prey alive, with the only relief coming when you eventually flatline the blood loss. And even though venom's the main suspect, you can still get clapped by a slow, painful bacterial infection. The first response of animals like buffalo after they've been wounded is to escape into nearby water. Going into unclean water with an open wound is how you lose your life to a horrific case of sepsis. And again, your life doesn't have to end for his meal to begin. Not only have Komodo dragons been known to attack humans, they've been recorded seeking out human graves, digging out the corpses, and then feeding on whatever human remains they find. Nothing on this island is safe from a Komodo, not even another Komodo. Cause Komodo hatchlings will spend most of their childhood up in the trees. Why? Adult Komodos are cannibals that'll devour any young dragons they run into, even if it ends up being their own children. We're talking about a 10-foot venomous...
What the fuck? See, again, the wildlife is just, man, leave your children alone, man. At least, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but learn from hyenas. Hyenas of all, for fuck's sake. I mean, what the fuck? This, you know, they didn't get the memo, right? Like, humans are literally the apex predator, don't fuck with them. I guess all the smart animals on the planet, like elephants, orcas, know not to fuck with humans. I guess they don't care about that.
steroid chameleon that'll track you down no matter where you go and will friendly fire its own kind. And it's only the first animal on this list.
That's a hippo with a black thing. What
We
the
talked
fuck?
about these winged bastards a couple of videos ago, so this is going to be a quick one. Now, plenty of birds eat other birds, but few are as sadistic about it as these overgrown ice vultures. Even though giant petrels are scavengers, they will target and jump weak or injured penguins, as well as snatch up any unaccompanied penguin chicks they can find. Just like a lot of animals you're going to see on this list, giant petrels will eat their struggling prey alive in groups, and they have a nasty habit of breaking in through the back door. I can't show you, but there are videos of these prison pigeons pulling out the intestines of a penguin through its anus. All while the penguin was alive and fighting for his life and the sanctity of his booty. He lost both. And it's not just penguins that get victimized. Giant petrels will attack other seabirds like the albatross and put them out of commission by forcing them underwater until they drown. But nobody gets it worse than penguins. The giant petrel is so vicious that once one snatches a chick, its parents usually won't even bother trying to save its life.
What the fuck?
Meaning Happy Feet could have ended with Mumble getting brutally shot-shanked by a gang of flying booty bandits, all while his parents just sat and watched. And since a penguin's vital organs are protected by a
I did not just see this clip. Why would you just show me the clip? Why wouldn't you just fucking say it and I believe it? Why do you think I don't trust you? I trust you, man. You don't have to show me the clip. What the fuck? Look at that. It just went there, snatched the penguin. Everybody's like, back up, back up. Nobody's trying to do shit. I don't know, man. You're in group, gang up on it. What the fuck? That poor penguin. That's baby penguin. That's just fucked up.
booty bandits, all while his parents
Oh,
just
no,
sat
no,
and
no,
watched.
no.
And since a penguin's vital organs are protected by a layer of fat, penguins can take a lot of damage before permanently peacing out. Alternatively, penguins can suffer through hours of abuse before experiencing the sweet release of death. One researcher watched a gang of about 20 petrels tear apart a penguin that had already been mauled by a fur seal until there was nothing but a skeleton with feet attached. Don't think you're safe. The southern giant petrel has been nicknamed a stinker because they'll feed on any rotting, decaying carcass, to the point where these birds will tailgate boats and consume whatever foul, putrid nastiness the sailors dumped off. Petrels eat the same way they live, with no conscience. So if you're ever injured or incapacitated somewhere in the Antarctic, pray that help finds you before this bird does. You won't be a fan of how that movie ends. It'll end the same way if you're ever chased by a pack of African wild dogs. In a neighborhood with lions and hyenas, these dogs are actually the most efficient killers on the plains, with a hunting success rate of about 80%. These African bush cujos have a very complex and nuanced hunting strategy. They just keep running. These killer canines can run you down at speeds of nearly 40 miles per hour for a distance of over 3 miles, and in a sprint they can clock in at a blistering 45. All running away does is delay the inevitable. It's like hitting the snooze button on death. Once the prey gets chased into exhaustion, the dogs will clamp those jaws around the panicking prey's snout and flank and force it to the ground. And for the third time on this list, they don't wait for you to stop breathing to start eating. And the bigger and stronger you are, the more you suffer. Cause they're able to put down animals like warthogs in as little as 2 to 5 minutes. But tankier animals like the wildebeest can spend the last 40 minutes of its life being gruesomely mauled by a pack of about 15 merciless murder hounds. And once the entire pack has you surrounded, there's virtually zero escape. An African
Whoa.
spend the last 40 minutes of its life being gruesomely mauled by a pack of about 15 merciless murder hounds.
This is just look at that lion. Lion was like, I'm lion, you I'm the apex predator right here. It's like, no man, you're not. Do you see the numbers? This clip is just astonishing. Look at that.
Once the entire pack has you surrounded, there's virtually
like,
zero
come
escape.
Here. You in the
And
hood.
African wild dogs have the unsettling habit of starting meals off by tearing a hole in the abdomen and pulling the intestines out so they can get to the organs and fat first. To add insult to life-canceling injury, unlike lions, African wild dogs give puppies priority and let them eat first. So not only would you still get disemboweled, it would be the cutest members of the pack doing it first. Basically, imagine being chased by a gang of animals that never get tired, while knowing once they catch you they'll confiscate your intestines and feed on your organs. All while you wait for the man upstairs to call your number. What could possibly be worse than that? Well,
oh no. Of course there's something more
hyenas
worse.
are everything African wild dogs are, but on juice. And even though hyenas are genetically closer to cats and mongooses, hyenas basically behave like dogs on steroids. Thanks to Lion King, people believe hyenas were just cowardly scavengers that only survive by scrounging a living off of other animals. The truth is, not only do hyenas personally murk 70 to 80% of their meals, they're actually more efficient at it than lions are. And it's all because hyenas and African wild dogs have one very unsettling thing in common. They're both serial killers on Duracell, meaning the bastards never get tired. Spotted hyenas can run at high speeds for over 5 miles without even thinking about being tired. which is why they don't have to ambush or one-shot their prey like lions. They'll just chase them into oblivion until one of them gives up.
Seriously, that is such a tremendous fact. Like, we as humans survived because we can sweat, which is a superpower. It's a superpower, which means we never get tired out. Our stamina is ridiculous. We can sweat, so we don't have to stop and, I guess, cool down. Our body cools down by sweating, so we can just run and run and run. That's why, long ago, when we were pack hunting, basically cavemen, we were feared. We made sure lots of species got extinct and basically made everybody run away by our spears and shit. Because we were just, way too efficient at just sprinting and basically, stamina never run out. So the biggest issue here is just, stamina running out with all the predators. So if you have the ability to, I guess, go 5 miles without even worrying about your stamina, that's OP. That alone is OP. That makes the hyenas way too terrifying.
And hyenas don't give up. It doesn't help that hyenas have jaws strong enough to amputate a rhino. With a bite strength of about 1,000 pounds of force, hyenas are tough enough to eat virtually any part of an animal. They have such a habit of eating the bones of the deceased that their poop often comes out white. With a vice grip for a mouth and the eating habits of a coffin, if a clan of hyenas is your series finale, then the only thing your family will have left to bury are memories. Cause once you're on this overgrown mongoose's meal prep, there won't be a lot of you left to put in a casket. And since there can be up to 80 members in a clan, and just one can take
I thought he was gonna say white poop. Only thing your family left to bury you is white poop, because that would be gross. But I guess he just talked about memories. It makes sense. He goes with the more poetic, rhymey things than that.
Down 30 pounds of meat in one sitting, you would basically be a Ritz cracker to them. But if I'm being honest, the real reason hyenas are on this list is because of this video. And guys, y'all gonna feel this one.
No, don't do that.
Hyenas have a devious habit of going for the family honeypot, but it is for a reason. Hyenas.
Oh. And he's made sure that there is audio in that clip too. It's not like he talked over that clip and made sure the clip is on mute. No. He had to make sure that we can hear the screams. You know what? Let's watch it again. It was so fucking horrifying. I would watch it again, because of course I do.
Hyenas have a devious habit of going for the family honeypot, but it is for a reason. Hyenas don't have the ability to instantly end their prey the way big cats do. So for larger animals like the buffalo, it's way easier to perform a hands-free vasectomy and just wait for blood loss to do the work for you. Imagine a mousetrap on your baby factory, but with the force of an adult moose stepping on it. Yeah. This next animal's probably going to be the most unexpected on this list, but let me paint a picture. Take a wolverine, right?
Oh god, this photo is like one of the gang member photo with the teardrop tattoo below his eyes. That's what this photo looks like.
This next animal's probably going to be the most unexpected on this list, but let me paint a picture. Take a wolverine, right? Put it on creatine, give it the personality of a power tool, and then dump it in the same area code as some of the most vicious carnivores in the jungle. This face of generational trauma belongs to the sloth bear. Yes, the one from Jungle Book. Sloth bears may not look like much. They're easily dwarfed by some of the more brolic bears, one of which may be on this list. They're not even super notorious predators. As insectivores, a sloth bear's grocery list is mostly ants and termites. But don't let the sloth in its name fool you. These furry chainsaws know how to get active. Sloth bears share an environment with leopards and tigers have been known to actively hunt and eat them, which is why the sloth bear is one of the most aggressively homicidal bears out there. Even though they have a size disadvantage, a pissed off slothy has been known to drive off even the most motivated tiger. And sometimes these bears clutch a 2v1. And since sloth bears can't escape in trees like American black bears, it's like nature told this dark-skinned poo that violence was his only option. Years of character development means this demon yogi will view almost anything alive as a threat, and that includes humans. Sloth bear attacks are incredibly brutal. The same claws they use to destroy concrete like termite mounts can disembowel you with one swipe. And unlike grizzlies, because sloth bears do have to worry about predators, they're much more likely to attack unprovoked. According to first-hand accounts, sloth bears will often maul their victims and then...
Do you remember one of those movies where they saw a guy who's seen some shit and basically has gone crazy and has that, hairs that, pop out everywhere? That's how this face looks with this kind of hair, like, oh my god, I'm traumatized 24/7. Why? Because tiger is hunting me every single day. Tiger is literally like, world's heavyweight boxer is hunting you. Because nothing is more terrifying than tiger. They're literally the most athletic, strong, predator cat in the world. They're more muscle to body ratio than anything. They're biggest cat probably that is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're the biggest cat that is. Right? They're literally twice the size of jaguar or something. So tiger, one swipe of tiger is just enough to fuck anything up. We already know how long a tiger can jump. They are literally the perfect athletes when it comes to predators. And they have to fight with that.
Chew and suck on their limbs until they're reduced to a bloody, mushy pulp. Sloth bears also typically go for the face, incapacitating their victims while biting and slashing to the point where neither your mother or your iPhone can recognize you. And of course, an animal that motivated usually won't stop until you're not moving. Which is why even in tiger country, more people get sent to the emergency room by the Balus of the jungle. And if you're really unlucky, if one's able to sever a critical artery with those adamantium fingernails, then your series finale will involve you bleeding into the afterlife. One man was able to survive a particularly brutal mauling at the hands or paws of this bear. He recalled feeling immense pressure as the bear tackled him, put its full weight on him, and crushed his leg in its jaws like a celery stick. When the bear was put out of commission, the man thought he got off easy. Until he looked at his leg and realized the bear had torn an entire chunk of his flesh to the point where he could see his muscles moving. And in rare cases, these bears have been known to stat pad. One infamous bear known as the Sloth Bear of Mysore had a human body count of at least 12 people while having also severely mauled another dozen. So when I call this bear a box cutter with claws, I'm talking about both its personality and the way its victims tend to look after, but of course, it's not the only bear on this list.
I'm not gonna lie, like I said, something that constantly has to be fearful for its life against tiger, it's gonna be homicidal. That's not that far-fetched to think. It's like saying somebody was in Nazi Germany, came out, and he's homicidal now. I mean, yeah, obviously, he had to survive Nazi Germany for fuck's sake.
Because when you're one of the few animals that'll actively hunt humans, you're guaranteed a spot. Thanks to global warming, most of the polar bear's hunting range is now underwater. A desperate polar bear will even attempt to go after walruses, even though walruses can one-shot them with those tusks. But a starving bear will resort to putting humans on the list if they get the chance. A polar bear is like a maxed out bloodhound. They can smell a seal from a mile away, and they can even track its scent through 3 feet of ice.
That eye is somehow terrifying with this angle.
Which is why it's been said, if you see this Caucasian carnivore in the wild, it's already too late. There's a good chance the bear's been hunting you for hours or even longer. This is Tim Jarvis, and during an expedition in the Arctic, he was allegedly stalked by a polar bear for a total of 10 days. Now add the fact that they can outswim every heat at the Olympics, and sprint fast enough to get a ticket in a school zone, and you'll see why getting on this ice killer's radar is a death sentence. Remember how African wild dogs tear into their prey while it's still alive? Bears are just triple XL dogs that'll usually clamp their jaws on the prey's back to disable it. And the back is usually where they start eating from, with the intestines being one of the first things to get pulled out. Also, polar bears are estimated to have a bite force of about 1,200 pounds per square inch, believed to be strong enough to crack a bowling ball. And if one paw swipes your back, at best you'll be a paraplegic, at worst you'll be a hashtag. And at least sloth bears attack out of self-defense. When a polar bear puts someone on the news, you can be sure it was 100% premeditated. And the worst part of it all is that normally polar bears wouldn't see humans as happy meals. They prefer the fat, nutrient-rich seal. But because of what we've done to their hood now, a polar bear doesn't even need to see you or hear you. If you're a mile downwind of a starving polar bear, that could really be all it takes. Remember the rule of thumb. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, best get on the ground. If it's white like the president, you finna be heaven sent.
That works in every ranges, whether it's animals or humans.
The African wilderness has some of the most vicious and violent predators on the planet. Some of them we've actually already talked about. So it says a lot that out of all of them, the one nicknamed Black Death is actually a vegetarian. The African Cape Buffalo race is about 200-
Oh, I'm sorry, that clip was just perfect. Holy shit, one lion got attacked by a vicious hyenas, and then every other lion just, gang came back, and hyenas ran back, as they should. Because pack of hyena is terrifying, but pack of lion would definitely overpower them. This is just too good.
The African wilderness.
Look at that. All the hyenas like, come here. The lion like, hey, where my homies at? And they arrive after that.
Has some of the most vicious and violent predators on the planet. Some of them we've actually already talked about. So it says a lot that out of all of them, the one nicknamed Black Death is actually a vegetarian. The African Cape Buffalo races about 200 names from the census each year. That's not counting the people that live but still get severely gored. They're also strong enough to ragdoll top tiers like lions, hyenas, and of course, people. Those horns aren't just for intimidation. When a Cape Buffalo charges, the hooked end of its horns can get caught under the skin and tear apart the flesh of a predator or a tourist that just doesn't know any better. Of course, at 1,300 pounds, they don't need horns to end you, they can easily just trample you into a chalk outline. But there's another thing about them that makes them not only a walking obituary, but earned them another nickname, the Widowmaker. Cause one of the fastest ways to get a divorce is to tell your husband to go hunt a Cape buffalo, cause then you'll probably go to bed single. And that's cause this Widowmaker is one of the most vengeful animals on earth. A wounded
I'm sorry, there are many names you could have given it. But if you give it a name Widowmaker, you know it's serious, right? Because you don't just give something like Widowmaker to just anything. Even in the games, whenever somebody uses Widowmaker name, it's something badass.
A buffalo will often retreat and hide in tall grass or brush. Now, if the hunter has more than one brain cell, he'll usually just give up and leave the beast alone. But if you make the mistake of following the injured animal, then you run the risk of getting ambushed and knocked clear into the ground. And after hitting you, the Cape buffalo will just back up and wait for you to get back on your feet just so they can hit stick you again. They'll keep doing this until you just stop getting up. That's
okay, I would never imagine something like a buffalo, this type of thing, bull buffalo, whatever, anything like this would stalk somebody by hiding under the grass. If I see something like that, I would be stunned for a second, like what the fuck? They do that? Come on.
Just what one can do to you. These guys can travel in hoods of up to 200. And these herds will often circle a possible threat, leaving no possibility for escape.
Look at that,
and they'll
king
just
of the
keep
jungle,
circling
my
until
ass.
one eventually sees an opening and attempts to impale you. And the same rules apply. If you're still moving, they're not finished.
King of the jungle, I guess that was when the revolution hit.
That kind of attitude is why lions cosplay as house cats when a herd of buffalo is involved. And why hunting one should come with a life insurance package. And out of the entire starting lineup known as the African Big Five, these murder cows are considered to be the biggest threat. But ironically, one of the most feared mammals on the entire continent isn't on this list.
Oh wait a minute, there are numbers, I didn't even see them.
Yeah,
This
no
third.
suspense here. Hippos are just waterproof horses with a sender's address from hell. Hippos put about 500 names in Twitter bios a year, and that number is probably higher. They're famous for choosing violence with anything in their territory, from antelope and crocodile, all the way to lions, humans, and literally everything else. Like if you have a pulse, they'll find a reason to hate you. In fact, the biggest threat to a hippo's way of life is very literally often another hippo. Because oftentimes when resources are low, bull hippos will see babies as competition and will turn the adorable infants into fish food. Here's a dark joke for you. Where did the baby hippo go after the baby shower? Everywhere. He went everywhere. Despite being the third heaviest
There's always a video, or more than once in a video, where you hear certain type of animals hunt their own kids. Like, what the fuck? See, this is why I have more respect for hyenas now after learning how they take care of their own kids.
thing on the planet with legs, hippos can run at speeds of 30 miles per hour. And they can outswim you, or technically outrun, because hippos don't swim, they literally run underwater. And I don't think that makes this video any better. But just like actress Tiana Trump, it's that mouth that makes them infamous. Bull hippos have tusks that can max out at 20 inches long, and they can slam their jaws at nearly 2,000 pounds of force. But if you've ever seen one eat a watermelon...
Okay, I'm sorry, what the fuck? This guy is loosely giving the hippo the watermelon, while hippo is just moving the hand around. Just at the wrong angle, he could have lost his arm. Look at this.
Inches long, and they can slam their jaws at...
Look at that. He just put that watermelon at an angle. His hand is clearly inside his mouth by then.
nearly 2,000 pounds.
What the fuck is that? Look at that. What if it just suddenly clamped down there? I would not. Why would you be in this?
Pounds of force. But if you've ever seen one eat a watermelon, you already knew that. Which is why the biggest mistake a croc can make is pull up to a hippo pool party, because it can end up getting turned into a purse. And the biggest mistake a person can make is getting too close. I hope this is photoshopped.
Yeah.
Hippos are one of those animals that don't need a reason to turn you into a statistic.
It is a Photoshop, because no way in hell this guy's brave enough that hippo's that close and trying to save her. No way. He's like, oh, she's dead. If this was real, he was like, oh, she's dead. Let's get out of here.
Hippos don't typically eat meat, but their attack style involves using that massive overbite and chewing a person into human applesauce. And it's the attacks in water that are the most brutal. Even if you survive, the toll for crossing hippo territory can cost an arm, a leg, multiple broken bones, and even a punctured lung or two. One tourist guide in Zimbabwe was allegedly swallowed by this land whale not once, but 3 times. And you want to know the worst thing about getting deep-throated by this obese demon donkey? Other than the smell. It's knowing that your options are to either stay inside and suffocate, or try to escape and end up negotiating your left arm in the process. As for the tourist guide, by the time he got out, he had suffered 38 bite wounds, including one so nasty it exposed his lungs and completely crushed one of his arms. This man rescued an orphan baby hippo from a flood and raised him as his own. He even named it Humphrey and said it was like a son to him. Well, Humphrey ended up mauling and mutilating his foster father in the same river he was rescued from. That's honestly how most movies with hippos end. But at least hippos are so massive they're
Yeah, I still don't get why people think it's okay to pet predators. They think I'll be the cool one. I'll be the one that they show in one of the Bond films or something, older Bond films, where they are walking around with lions and tigers, for fuck's sake. Never pet predators. That's what it is. Would you ever pet, I don't know, would you ever keep a wolf in your house? You can't. If you tried, they would basically stop you, because wolf basically sees you as a food. Once they start growling, people basically runs away. Even if it's fucking, somebody tamed that wolf, right? There's a trainer there. Even the trainer would tell you, like, fuck off. And it just growled. Even I can contain it if you don't fuck off. You can't keep predators and try, oh, look at that, I rescued this fucking, hippo, and I basically keep him around. Yeah, it's gonna kill your whole family, you imbecile.
Possible to miss. The next animal is the size of a golf ball, but could turn 26 people into a very loaded story on CNN.
Something with venom, I guess?
The blue ring octopus is a lot of things. Tiny, cute, and it's one of the most venomous things alive. It's armed with a neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin, and the lethal dose for a human could fit on the head of a pin. Plenty of animals are venomous in Australia, from the jellyfish right down to the peris. But there's one disturbing fact about blue ring octopus. The blue ring octopus is so small that most people don't even realize when they've been bitten. And because they're so small and cute, some people will put the octopus in their hands, not realizing they're putting their lives in the octopus's. Because not only...
See, this is why whenever somebody thinks, oh, let's travel the, different countries, go to Australia, go to Europe, let's go to the beach and, check all the different wildlife and fishes. You're gonna die with something that you have no knowledge about. I never understand that shit. I'm okay with traveling, but that kind of adventure mentality, that's just gonna bite you in the ass. If you're gonna have some kind of a infection that will fuck you up, or something will bite you that basically you won't even know it until you're dead, like something like this. And this octopus is glowing blue somehow, not glowing, bright blue colors. So I guess it evolved in a way that it knows that, it has a massive, strong venom. So it's this bright, colorful because it wants the predators to find it so it can kill it. There's some next level shit. Different animals have camouflage and things like that just to blend in. This thing doesn't want to blend in. That's next level.
Only is tetrodotoxin 10,000 times more powerful than cyanide, the neurotoxin shuts down muscles by blocking sodium channels. This decision can lead to muscle paralysis, respiratory failure, cardiac arrest, and then a permanent rest. Which is why one of the smallest animals on this list can turn you into past tense in as little as 30 minutes. And remember, you don't feel when this blue ring Bundy bites you, meaning you can hold it like this for 3 seconds and then flatline in the same hour. And if you're swimming while that paralysis hits, use your imagination. Oh, and there's no antidote. All medical professionals can do is hook you up to a respirator and manage your breathing just long enough to keep you alive. But with immediate medical attention, the chances of getting put in a casket by this blue ring hellspawn are actually pretty low. But with a bite that's impossible to feel, it's very possible to not realize you've been wounded. And without medical attention, the chance of your soul getting evicted suddenly becomes a lot higher. Which means this lady just barely Eurostep becoming a name on a stone in one of the worst ways possible. Cause anything that tries this hard to be seen is probably more toxic than future. That goes for octopus and people.
The number one, okay.
This last one deserves its own viewer discretion warning because in some ways it's the most disturbing animal on this list.
Come on.
Not only does it have the highest human body count, you can be a victim and not even realize it. That's because it's believed that over 1 billion people in the world are infected with parasitic worms. They're especially a problem in places with limited access to clean drinking water. But don't think this is just some third world problem. All you have to do is swim in waters containing eggs and you can lose the lottery and become a landlord to these parasites. Once inside you, these worms can cause a bunch of nasty infections and complications, but there's one disease that really stands out. These demonic flesh ropes are filarial worms, and they're as thin as sewing threads. And their favorite hangout spot is in your lymph nodes, where a bunch of them can block fluids from leaving the body, which can cause tissues in the body to swell almost like a disturbing cartoon. Which is how a worm you need a microscope to see can cause a nightmarish condition known as elephantiasis, the situation where your leg can swell to the same size and color as an elephant's. And it doesn't just give you Dumbo-sized cankles. All guidelines will allow me to say is Google South Park wheelbarrow. Get infected with filarials and you might need one. But the unsettling part is you may never know you've been violated by filarials until it's too late. Millions of people around the world are infected.
Oh god, so first of all, it can block off, certain, nodes and things, so it could give you gangrene, theoretically, if it stops the blood flow, I guess. But then elephantitis, whatever, oh god. So, again, I come back to that thing, there was those adventurists who basically just go to different places and do different adventure stuff. Take a swim here and there. This is way too dangerous, man. If anybody has any common sense and any common knowledge about how our planet is, any basic scientific knowledge that how our own planet is so hostile to us, nobody would basically become an adventurer and basically go anywhere and just take a swim in any fucking lake or whatever.
And a lot of them have no idea. Which means, of course, statistically, someone watching this video has to have it. If it makes you feel any better, if you live in America, you apparently can't get infected with filarial worms. But you're not safe from the hundreds of other parasites that can turn your insides into an Airbnb. Around the world, hundreds of millions of people are infected with parasitic worms as we speak. And if you happen to be asymptomatic, they can put a whole mortgage down on your body and you would be the last to know. And that's just about it for this video. If you actually enjoyed this video, first of all, you're a psychopath. But also my Patreon's going to be in the description in case you want to support this very questionable content. In fact, you could have watched this video 2 days before I posted it on Patreon. But as always, please don't feel like you have to send money in order to show support. Please feel like you have to subscribe though, I'm not playing with y'all. Subscribe or I'm just gonna assume you have worms. Also follow my Instagram, if for no other reason but to help.
Yeah, Amandaya97, okay. Alright, wait a minute, he has only 150,000 followers there, while on YouTube he has 1.5 million. I guess he started, no wait a minute, he started on TikTok, right? So I guess he's more famous on TikTok or something. Alright. First of all, statistics about worms, yeah, that is true, but I'm pretty sure I don't have any, or somebody in my family, because we don't do that kind of a, dangerous, adventurous shit, or we don't even eat questionable food while going out, I don't know. I'm very careful, so I would be very surprised if me or my family is infected by anything. But yeah, obviously last thing was horrible because it's a worm that can live inside you. One of the videos just few days ago I reacted, which was one of the most horrible video I watched, was from this channel about worms. The massive worms that could basically go inside of you. Just no. No, especially that thing where women used to infect themselves with worms like that just so they could eat more and not get fat. Just be fat. Just be fat. Fat as a fucking, I don't know, water buffalo or whatever. Just be fat. Worms are not good, man. Well, people, that was 10 horrible ways animals can end you by the channel Casual Geographics. If you like my reaction, no food, like, subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cards for different places. Check out the ink cards. And yeah, I'll see you next time.